Sorry about that. Hello, my name is Ari Waldman. I'm a person who stutters. Please bear with me. I'm very tired. My ribs are a little swollen, and I'm just laying in bed while I do my YouTube Tanya, day 61. My name is Ari Waldman. I'm a person who stutters from Chabad.org. Daily study, Daily Tanya, Likutei Amarim, beginning of chapter 12, Tuesday 14th of Tevet, 5781, December 29th, 2020. In the previous chapters, the Alter Rebbe defined the terms tzaddik and rasha. The tzaddik, he explained, is one in whom the good qualities of his divine soul vanquish the evil qualities of his animal soul to the extent of completely eradicating them. A rasha, conversely, is one in whom the evil qualities of his animal soul overcome the good of his divine soul, causing him to sin in thought, speech, or action. In this, the 12th chapter, the term Benoni, the intermediate man, who is neither tzaddik nor rasha, will be defined. The Benoni, the Alter Rebbe explains, is one whose practical conduct in thought, speech, and action is dictated solely by the divine soul. It has the upper hand over the animal soul. The Benoni accomplishes this by not allowing himself to become dominated in any way by the animal soul, even for the shortest duration, never thinking, speaking, and surely not acting in a sinful manner. The garment of the divine soul alone, namely thought, speech, and action in Torah and mitzvot, are those used by the Benoni. Nevertheless, with respect to the essence of the divine and animal souls, i.e., their respective faculties of intellect and emotion, the divine soul does not dominate the animal soul, and the latter remains powerful enough to arouse desires for physical matters. However, through constant vigilance, the Benoni keeps these desires in check, never permitting them any practical manifestation. V'ha-Benoni hu shel olam, ein hara gover kol kach, lichbosh et ha'ir ketana. The Benoni, intermediate man, is he in whom the evil of the animal soul never attains enough power to conquer the small city, i.e., the body which is likened to a small city, which the divine and animal soul both wish to dominate. Lihitlabesh baguf lahach atio, so as to clothe itself in the body and make it sin. Dehainu shash losha levushe nefesh habahamit shehem machashava dibur umase shemitzad haklipa. That is to say, the three garments of the animal soul, namely thought, speech, and action, originating in the klipa, i.e., forbidden thought, speech, and action, which derive their vitality from klipa, as explained in previous chapters, are in the Benoni so subdued that they ein govrim bo al nefesh ha-Elohim lihitlabesh baguf. Do not prevail within him over the divine soul to the extent of clothing themselves in the body. Bamoach uvapeh uvishar ramach evarim lahachatiam ule tamam chas v'shalom. Neither in the brain, so that the brain thinks forbidden thoughts with the animal soul's garment of thought, nor in the mouth to speak forbidden words, the garment of speech, nor in any of the other 248 organs to act in a forbidden manner, the garment of action. In none of these do the garments of the animal soul clothe themselves to cause them to sin and to defile them, God forbid, in which case he would be a Rasha, not a Beinoni. Rak shlosha levushe nefesh Elohim heim levadam mitlabshim baguf shehem machashav vadibur u'maasa shel taryag mitzvot haTorah. Only the three garments of the divine soul, they alone manifest themselves in the body, these being the thought, speech, and action related to the 613 commandments of the Torah. V'lo avar avera miyamav v'lo ya'avor liolam. The Beinoni has never committed any transgression, nor will he ever transgress. V'lo nikra alav shem rasha afilu shah achat v'rega echad kol yomav. The name Rasha has never been applied to him, however temporarily, not even for a moment throughout his life. The Rebbe notes, the question is well known, i.e. with regard to the statement that the Beinoni is one who never transgressed. The following question is commonly raised. It is not possible through repentance and subsequent divine service that one attain the rank of Beinoni. Despite his previous sins, after repenting one can rise even to the level of tzaddik. Surely then the rank of Beinoni is not beyond his reach. The Rebbe answers this question in the following manner. When the Alter Rebbe states that the Beinoni has never transgressed, he does not mean that the Beinoni never sinned in his life as a human being, but that in his life as a Beinoni, he has no history of sin. The Beinoni's present spiritual state is such that sin, in the past as well as in the future, has no place in his life. He would not sin even if he was subject to the same temptations and trials which led him to sin in the past. Sorry about this. This. Was it definitely went there. Let's start over here. The Rebbe notes the question is well known, i.e., with regard to the statement that the Benoni is one who never transgressed. The following question is commonly raised. It is not possible through repentance and subsequent divine service that one attain the rank of Benoni despite his previous sins. After repenting, one can rise even to the level of tzaddik. Surely then the rank of Benoni is not beyond his reach. The Rebbe answers this question in the following manner. When the Alter Rebbe states that the Benoni has never transgressed, he does not mean that the Benoni never sinned in his life as a human being, but that in his life as a Benoni, he has no history of sin. The Benoni's present spiritual state is such that sin in the past, as well as in the future, has no place in his life. He would not sin even if he were subject to the same temptations and trials which led him to sin in the past. It is therefore true to state that from the perspective of his present state, he has never sinned. Likewise, the Alter Rebbe statement that the Benoni will never sin is to be understood in the same vein. The intention is not that it is impossible for him to sin. He does not, after all, lose his freedom of choice. Rather, as explained above, his present state is such that it precludes his sinning in the future, despite the trials that the future may bring. To be classified as a true Benoni, one must fulfill these conditions, for if one's spiritual state precludes his sinning only under present conditions, but he would succumb to sin were he subject to sin, were he subject to temptations of the past or those the future may bring, then he is in potentia a rasha. He could and would sin, except that the prevailing circumstances are not sufficiently conducive for him to do so. In the same vein, the Alter Rebbe concludes the name rasha, referring to one who sins in thought, speech, and action, has never again, in his state of Benoni, been applied to him. However, temporarily, for the Benoni has reached a state where sin is precluded under any circumstances, whether of the past or the future. It remains to be understood, however, why such a lofty person is considered merely a Benoni, not a tzaddik. This matter is now clarified. Ach mahut the atzmut nefesh Elohit shehein eser bechinoteha. However, the essence and being of the divine soul, which are its 10 faculties, the 3 soul powers of intellect, and the 7 emotional faculties, are referred to as essence of the divine soul. In contrast with the soul's garments, thought, speech, and action, which serve merely as outlets and means of expression for the soul's essential faculties. Lo lahen levadan hamalucha V'hamemshala ba'ir kitana. Do not hold undisputed sovereignty and sway over the small city, the body. For as shall be explained later, the faculties of the animal soul too exercise some degree of control over the body through awakening in one's heart desires for worldly pleasures, which in turn cause forbidden thoughts to enter his mind. Ki im bi'itim mezumanim kumo b'shat kriyat shema utefila. Only at specific times do the faculties of the divine soul hold undisputed sovereignty over the Benoni, with the animal soul having no effect whatsoever on him, such as during the recital of the Shema or the Amida. Shehi she'at mochin tegadlut lamala. At the time of prayer, the supernal intellect above is in a sublime state. It is a time of great illumination in the higher worlds. V'gam lamata hi sha'at hakosher l'chol adam. Likewise below, in this physical world, the time of prayer is propitious for every man to ascend to a higher spiritual level. She'az mikosher chochma bina da'at shalol Hashem. Then during the recital of Shema or during prayer, the Benoni binds his chabad, his intellectual faculties, consisting of chochma, bina, and da'at, to God. Leha amik, da'ata, b'gdulat ein sof baruch hu. Meditating deeply on the greatness of the blessed Ein Sof. Leorer et ha'ava kiri shpe ish bechalal hayemani shebeliba, and arousing through this meditation a burning love of God in the right path of his heart. For, as explained in previous chapters, meditation on God's greatness arouses the love of him within one's heart. L'davka vo b'kiyum haTorah u'mitzvotea me'ahava. This love in turn leads the Benoni to desire to cleave to him by means of fulfilling the Torah and its commandments out of love. The realization that only the fulfillment of Torah and mitzvah will fulfill his desire to become one with God channels the Benoni's love into a desire to observe Torah and mitzvot. Shezehu inyan hamavoar bekriyat shema deoraita. This arousal of love for God and its accompanying to resolve to adhere to Torah and mitzvot and thereby cleave to him is the essential subject of Shema, which the biblical deoraita commandment enjoins us to recite. Uvir choteha shilfaneha ula'acha reha shehein dirabanan hein hachana likiyum hakriyat shema kamo shenitbaer b'makom acher. Likewise, the rabbinically ordained dirabanan blessings preceding and following the Shema are preparation, enabling us to fulfill that which we recite in the Shema, as explained elsewhere. The az hara shebechalal ha-smali kafuf uvatel atov ha-mitpashit bechalal ha-yimani mechachma bina da'at shebamoach ha-mikusharim bigdulat ein sof baruch hu. At such time, during the Shema or prayer, when the love of God burns in the heart of the Benoni, the evil in the left part of his heart, the animal soul's principal area of manifestation, is subjected to and is nullified before the goodness, i.e., the love of God that spreads into the right part of the heart, where the divine soul is manifest from the Chabad faculties in the brain, which are bound in meditation to the greatness of the blessed Ein Sof, contemplating God's greatness with three intellectual faculties: wisdom, understanding, and knowledge, Chabad, Chachma Bina Dat, arouses and diffuses a love of God in the right part of the heart. The arousal of love causes the evil of the animal soul to be nullified in the good of the divine soul, now pervading the heart during the time of prayer. Therefore, when the Benoni arouses his love of God through meditation, his animal soul is inactive, and he feels no inclination for physical pleasures. Thus, during prayer, the Benoni's divine soul is his undisputed sovereign, as the Alter Rebbe stated above. Aval achar hatfila behistalkut hamochin de gadlut ein sof baruch hu hare hara chozer v'neor bechalal hasmali mitave tava letavot olam hazeh v'ta'anugav. But the state of affairs lasts only during the duration of the spiritually charged time of prayer. However, after prayer, when the state of sublimity of the intellect of the Ein Sof, blessed is he, departs, i.e., when the spiritual illumination engendered by prayer ceases, the evil of the animal soul and the left part of the heart reawakens, and he, the Benoni, once again feels a desire for the lusts of this world and its delights. Since the evil of the Benoni's animal soul remains undiminished even after prayer, as the Alter Rebbe will explain shortly. This is the end of my video Tanya, day 61. Have a great day.